Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing my July wrap up. July really flew by, and I think that that's because I was on two separate vacations, so I didn't really get to read a ton because I wasn't reading while I was on vacation. So that didn't happen. But I did finish 4 books. So not a bad reading month, especially considering the fact that I didn't hardly listen to anything for probably like a week. I would say at least a week. I didn't read anything. So 4 books in 3 weeks is probably pretty good. I also did not have any DNFs. And so the first book that I finished was Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. This one we all know has taken me all year to read, but I finally finished it. If you don't know, Wind and Truth is book 5 to the Stormlight Archive. The Way of Kings is the first one, and it is a massive cast. Like, we are following several different point of views, especially early on. We're following several, and then as we get deeper into the stories, we follow more and more people, and it just gets bigger and bigger, and it's like huge in scope. Like, this is his epic fantasy. But we're following all these different people. We've got a war happening with what we call the Proshendi, and we're mad at them because they killed our king, and so now we're revenge with them. We're following Kaladin, who is a slave. He was a doctor turned soldier turned slave, and now he's part of the bridge crew, and he's figuring out how to survive and to find hope in the world again. Following Shalon, who is a young girl who likes academia, but she is a thief. And then we're following Dalinar, who is a warlord. And that is just 1%, not even 1% of what the story is about. So if I were to tell you all the details, we'd be here a long time. There are videos on the channel if you'd like to go and like see something a little bit deeper on that one. But so book 5. This one had a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people really didn't like it, and I can see that. It was definitely a slog up until like 10 hours in. I was so bored. I just did not care at all for like the first 10, 12 hours. Like, it was really bad because the book is so big. Like, this book was a 62-hour audiobook. That's how big it is. And Brandon Sanderson, because it's so long, he's got all the time in the world to just set stuff up. And I'm just like, can we just like get moving? As soon as they got moving on their story, I was fine. This book is different from the others because this one is broken into like 10 different days. Day 1, was so long and so boring, and I just did not care. Like, I didn't want to follow all these different perspectives. I didn't even care about the previous characters that I had liked. So that was rough. I'm not even entirely sure why I kept reading. I think I was just waiting for it to like pick up, and I knew that it would. Like, Brandon Sanderson does a really good job with his endings. Like, everything like middle of the book and after is usually a lot better, especially like the last 25%. Like, that's when everything kind of hits, and he does a super great job with his endings, and everything just kind of like avalanches. They call it the Sanderlanche for a reason. And so I was kind of trying to like hold on until we got to that point. And I also really just wanted to know some of the things. My biggest complaint about this is that it's just too long. Like, it's way too long. It doesn't need to be so long. Like, I would do so much better with it if it was cut down a ton. I really loved the second book. The second book was my favorite. I really liked the first one, but the second one was my favorite. The third one was good, and then the fourth one was good enough. But they just got so long, and everything is so huge, and the scope of the world is so big that I have a hard time keeping up. Like, I don't know all of the pieces that are happening in order to like understand everything. Like, I just don't. So like, even after I finished this book, like, I literally had to go to Google and be like, okay, I need in-depth summaries. I need to fully understand what it is that I just read. I did attempt to reread all 4 books before I started this one. It took me so long to reread book 2, and I love book 2. So I knew it was going to take me forever to do books 3 and 4, and so I just wasn't going to do it. And so that is probably part of why I didn't know a lot of the things that were happening. I mean, I could keep up with like the majority of the plot line. It's just the nuances of all the things that I just didn't really care about. And I couldn't keep up with. So that's my big problem with this one. I don't know that I'm going to continue on because if you don't know, the way that Stormlight Archive is set up is it's set up in two separate arcs. So you got books 1 through 5 and then books 6 through 10. Books 1 through 5 are their own separate arc, and then 6 and 10 are their own separate arc. So you could realistically end at book 5 and be done. And I think that I might. I don't know that I care enough to keep going. Um, I think that I'm satisfied enough with the ending of book 5, and I don't need more, you know? So I think that that's probably where I'll end it. The second one I finished was The One by John Mars. This one we are following a large cast of characters as well, but it's much shorter. This one is a thriller, so everything moves kind of quickly. And we're following these people because in this world, there has been this test that will allow you to figure out who your like perfect DNA match is. And a lot of people will take this test, find out who their DNA match is, and then they'll go be with that person. And with that, it does end up breaking up a lot of relationships, marriages, all kinds of stuff because you're going to go be with your perfect DNA match, you know? And so we're seeing a lot of different people as they're figuring out their own experiences with this test. Like some of them took it ages ago, but never got a match. And then some of them hadn't taken it, but then they might take it with their spouse or their partner or whatever. You've got some who took it and then immediately got a response and they're not really sure about who they got, you know, like things like that. You know, and so you just explore how different stories are interacting with their matches. And I liked the ending. I liked one like the bigger twist in the story. I really liked it. I liked all the perspectives well enough. It just didn't hit the way that I wanted it to hit. Like this book is a huge favorite in the thriller world, but I don't get it. Like I don't understand why everyone raves about this book so much. Like I don't get it. I read Good Samaritan by John Mars. That one was so fast paced and just like everything kept escalating and just like, oh, it was a whirlwind. This one wasn't a whirlwind at all, and I didn't see a lot of the things coming, so that was cool. But I don't know. It just didn't hit the way I wanted it to. I really wanted to love this one. Like I was super, super excited about this one, and it just was a bit of a letdown. The next one I finished was The Echo Man by John Mars as well, and this one was also a little bit of a letdown. I think for me with this one, actually, let me tell you what it's about before I tell you my thoughts. So this one, we're following a couple of different people who are connected to this series of murders that are happening. We're following snippets of the guy who is doing the murdering, and then we're following a couple of the different cops at the police station, and we're following this lady, Jessica. And Jessica is involved um, in a couple of different ways with this case. And I really liked it. I was super intrigued with Jessica and like how her story was and like the things that she was dealing with. I really was like intrigued. And then as soon as things started kicking off, she lost me. Like she just lost me. And it's definitely a me problem. Okay. She does what she does as a character. Like she does. And I think after everything, like everything that she did and the choices that she made was pretty fitting of like her character. I just didn't agree. I just didn't like her character. And I think that she made really poor choices and I think that she should have done things a little bit differently. And so that's why I'm mad about it. So that's definitely a me problem. That's not a character book problem because that's who she was as a character. I really like the twist in this. I think that it was set up really nicely early on. And I think that it did a really good job of fulfilling like that promise of everything. Yeah, like I don't know that you'll see it coming because it's that good. Like I liked it a lot. I like the twist. I just didn't really like the story a ton. Um I wasn't I wasn't like thrilled, like when I read a thriller, like I just want to be like can't stop reading sort of feeling. And that's not how it was with this book. Not until we got to like the very end and everything was being like revealed. That's where I was like all in. But like if I want to read a thriller, like I want to be all in from like early on. Like can't put it down because I'm so invested. And that just wasn't what this was for me. And then the last one on this list was The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. A real quick summary of this book. We're following this little girl Lenny, and her family is it's so heartbreaking. Her dad, he was at war and he's developed a lot of PTSD and he's having a really hard time regulating his emotions, and because of that he's lashing out a lot at Cora, which is Lenny's mom. And he's having a real hard time holding down jobs and things like that. And so they end up moving to Alaska to be like out in the wilderness, and they aren't prepared at all to live in Alaska. And so you're watching this family as they're attempting to figure out how to survive in Alaska when they're not prepared. And we watch Lenny as she's like growing up and trying to figure out who she is as a person and trying to deal with her family dynamics and trying to be less lonely. Like that's the big theme of the story, is feeling alone. And you just watch Lenny try to figure it out the best way that she can. And she's just so young. So like she doesn't super understand everything, and there's not a whole lot of things that she can control and all those things. And I think Kristen Hanna did a really good job with this story, with showing sympathy for PTSD and the things like that, while also holding people accountable for their actions and not allowing that to be an excuse to just treat everybody the way that you want to, and people calling you out for your crap. And so I really liked this. I think that this was like the perfect book for me. This made me cry, okay? Nightingale couldn't do it, but this one made me cry. And so I had a great time with this one. I really love the writing in this. I think this right now is my favorite Kristen Hanna. I think this is I think this is my third Kristen Hanna, because I read The Women and The Nightingale. And I think that was it. And I think this one is definitely my favorite. I really liked Lenny as a character. I really loved their town and the found family that they had there. I really like them all trying to come together to really help each other and be there for each other, because they don't have anyone else. Like they're in the wilderness. Like there's no running water, there's no electricity. You're on your own and you're just having to figure it out. You have to like store your own food and be able to hunt and be able to like skin animals and all that kind of stuff. And so it's definitely a survival uh book. And so I really love that. I watch a lot of Alone with my dad, which is where they drop you off in the wilderness by yourself and you have to survive, and you only get like you can bring 10 items. That's it, and you have to stay out there for as long as you possibly can. And so it's a lot of fun. So I really like that kind of stuff because I would not last at all. So I don't want to go to the bathroom out in the woods. Okay. I don't even want to go camping. So I would not survive at all, but I like when other people can. But yeah, I think that that's all the books that I have read. I'm still reading Of Darkness and Light, First Binding, The Case Against Sugar, and The Devils. And then, of course, my book of the month is going to be The Great Alone. Like, how could it not be? This is the only book that I really felt something for this month. It made me cry multiple times. So it had to be my book of the month. And it's probably going to be on the top 10 at the end of the year, unless I just read a lot of great things between now and then, which is always possible. But as of right now, it's definitely sitting on that top 10 list. So, guys, that is my July wrap up. What books did you read in July? What Kristen Hanna books would you recommend? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.